Hi everyone, it's Christine here from Ever After Paper Crafts, and today I have a super fun space card to share with you. This is the card we're going to be working on today, and this actual background, this galaxy background, is the same exact background that I created with you on camera a few videos back. So I'm not going to be focusing on the background today, as this literally is the one I did with you on camera. So I will link to that video in the description box below. So you can go ahead and watch that if you are interested in how to do a galaxy background with watercolor paints. So what I'm going to be focusing on today is just some super fun, quick zig coloring of some of the elements on this card. The stamp set that I used is this adorable stamp set from My Favorite Things called Space Explorer. It has some really awesome sentiments and then 3 different astronauts, some planets, the moon, and of course a rocket ship and some stars, and it's just darling. So this is the stamp set that I used today, and since I had this background available, I just decided to do another fun space card. I'm going to pull this up here. Hopefully you can see I have put glossy accents on the helmet of the little astronaut as well as the window here of the spaceship. I have lots of Wink of Stella glitter on the star balloons and on the moon and the other planets. It's kind of hard to show up on screen here, but it will be visible on the pictures on my blog, and I will link to my blog in the description box of this video. So just a fun, some simple zig coloring that we're going to work on today. So let's go ahead and get started. I went ahead and already stamped the images onto Canson XL watercolor paper with some Hero Arts black dye ink. This is my favorite ink for any type of watercoloring at all, including watercolor painting. It's perfect. It dries super fast. You don't have to hit it with your heat tool. You can stamp and move right onto your project. So definitely recommend that. So here's the images. Let me go ahead and zoom in just a bit here so you can see the coloring a little bit better. I didn't use very many zig markers at all to create this project, so I will call them out as we go along here. It's always surprising to me how I'm able to create such beautiful shaded looks here with just a few markers. This look would take several markers if I was using other alcohol-based markers, but with the zigs, it's just 2 markers to create the fun gray. So let's start with the little astronaut. And to color his little helmet here, I used 2 zig markers only, and of course my water brush. I used gray and light gray, and that's it. So super easy. So I'm just scribbling on some gray first. I always start with my darkest color and then bring in my light color. So he's facing this way to the left. Let me turn him back forward facing for a moment. He's facing to the left here. So I'm assuming that any highlights are going to be hitting him from this way. So he's going to be darkest over here, if that makes sense. So I'm going to focus the majority of my marker coloring where it's going to be darkest on his right side. So let me just scribble in here with the gray marker. Now I'm going to come in with my light gray marker. These are the only 2 markers that I use to color this helmet here. And I'm just going to use this light gray marker to pull the gray out into this open space here and blend it together with the light gray. And forgive me, sometimes I turn the little image that I'm coloring. It just makes it a little easier so my head doesn't get in the camera view. So hopefully that's not too distracting. I apologize for that if it is. So now I'm going to take my water brush, and it's going to do the bulk of the work for me. So we're going to take our water brush here and blend these colors out into the open space that still remains. And you will have beautiful shading here in a moment when it's completed. And it just, again, amazes me how you're able to achieve this look with some water and 2 markers. It's just amazing to me. So there you go. There's a beautifully shaded helmet. I went out of the lines just a little bit right here. And that's mostly just a product of me not being able to get the perfect vantage point over my image because I don't want my head in the camera. But if that happens to you, it's no big deal. Just take your clean water brush and push that color back into your little guy. Push it back in, and it will fix on its own. You may have to go at it a few times to get it to completely go away, but it will. All right, so let's continue on with the suit. I'm going to next move into this middle piece here. Just put a little bit of gray on the left side and then a lot more gray on the right side where it's going to be darker. And then come in with your light gray and just blend this out here. Blending it out. Blending these two colors together. When you're going in with the light gray, you don't want to go all the way back to the very beginning where you first put down the gray color. You just want to go slightly into the gray color that you put down and pull it out. Otherwise, you'll get kind of weird, funky lines, and it will also significantly dim the first darker color that you put down, and you don't want that. You want it to retain its brightness. All right, so now we're gonna come in and do his little gloves and his arms here. So I'm just scribbling on some gray here, and I'll go ahead and do both arms at once here so that we move just a little bit quicker. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know I do like to take it kind of one piece at a time so the coloring that you're putting down stays wet and doesn't dry up on you and makes it easy to blend. But for purposes of the video, sometimes I'll do, you know, try to go a little bit faster and do more pieces at one time. But I encourage you, if you're doing this on your own, try to do one piece at a time. I just find it a little bit easier and keeps me more organized with where I'm putting my shading, etc., and also keeps everything wet and easier to move. Okay, so now his little arms are done. I'm going to come back up to the helmet quickly. I forgot the little thingamajigs, I don't know what exactly you call them, but on the side of the helmet. So I'm just coming back in to color these in super quick. Again, gray and light gray. And then leaving some white space to pull the colors up with my water brush. Now we're going to do this part of his suit here. And so I'm just going to scribble down some of the gray color, which again is the darker color. When I'm working with my zigs, I always start with the darkest color first. That works best for me. So I'm going to scribble that down. And now I'm going to come in with a light gray and blend out this darker gray color here. Get a nice blending of those two colors together before you come in with your water brush. And now we take the water brush. Remember, don't go all the way back to the beginning, just where you've already blended, and pull that out. Hopefully that makes sense there. You're not going all the way back into the first color you put down. You're just going into what you've blended and then pulling it up into the remaining white space. Now for his little buttons on his suit here, I did two of them blue and two of them of red. So I'm using blue for these two little buttons here, and it's just the blue, the regular blue zig color. It's a very bright, beautiful blue, I think. And then for the other two buttons, I'm using deep red. It is one of my favorite zig markers. There's lots of different reds, and they all are helpful and useful depending on your project. But if you're just looking for kind of a dark, nice red, I definitely recommend having deep red in your stash. I find it very, very useful. Now on the legs of his suit, I wanted to add some color. So I decided on the little bands here to make them blue. So I'm going to put some blue down, just scribbling blue. You don't need a lot of blue. This is one of those markers that really reacts to the water. So a little goes a long way. And that's just something, you know, that you kind of learn as you're working with the zigs. Some colors really react to the water better than others, and blend, you know, with just the littlest bit of color better than others. Black is another one of those that really, just a tiny bit goes a long, long, long way. I'm going to do the same thing with the little pieces over here of his suit. So I'm just scribbling a little bit of blue down and then taking my water brush and pulling the color out. But again, that's just, you learn those little tricks and tips as you work with these markers. And you know, there's still colors, quite frankly, I haven't used. Zig markers coming up, there's 80 total available colors. I have the full 80 pack. It comes in a set if you want it. I still haven't used all the colors because you really don't need them. You get such awesome results with such few colors. You don't need that many. You really don't. And great thing about these markers too is you can buy them individually. And I think they're about, the cheapest I've found is about $2.99 a marker, which is great. So now I'm just coloring the rest of the suit quickly here with the gray and light gray again. Using the water brush to pull that color out. Another great thing about the water brush too is it takes out all of those strokes from your markers. So in other words, the harsh lines that coloring can create is alleviated by the water brush, which is just awesome. I love that feature as well. You can, of course, use the zigs without water too. They can be used much like Copics and just blend with each other without using the water. And I've been promising a video on that, and I will deliver that very soon. I just prefer this look myself. And I have found that working with the water at first seemed very daunting to me, you know, very kind of almost like frightening in a way. I was afraid I was going to mess it up, or, you know, I wouldn't have as much control, but I have actually found that it's quite easy. And I just absolutely love it. Okay, so there's our little guy. His suit is now completely done. Let's do his hair. For his hair, I used brown and light brown, and I just was very simple with his hair. Nothing magical here at all. I just put a little bit at the top because the helmet, of course, would cast some shadow on the tip top of his head. And then the hair near his face is going to be dark as well. So I just scribbled in some of my brown, which is my darker color in this combination, in those two locations. And then I took my light brown and blended that out in a circular motion, just blending that brown color down and now up. Since I'm now working on the bottom part here of his hair. So now I'm blending that color up. And then we'll use our water brush to mix everything together and have a really nice shaded look in the middle there where it's going to be lightest. And here we go. We're just blending this together here. And I think that that is just so fun. I love that. That's a great combination, by the way, for kind of like a blondish with a little bit hint of brown look. I've played around a lot to try to come up with the best hair colors. So hopefully you guys like them. It took a little bit of time to play with these and come up with the colors and combinations that I liked the best. Anyway, so now we're going to go with his face. Oops, I always pick the wrong marker up first sometimes. Blush and flesh color are the two colors that I use for Caucasian skin. So I'm starting with the darkest of those two colors first, which is the blush. And of course, it's going to be darkest here on the right side. And now I'm going to come in with the flesh color and a circular motion, take out those harsh lines and blend these colors together here. And now we're going to take our water brush and finish everything up here. Now I'm going to go at this again in a moment just to let that dry for just a moment, and because I want it to be even more highlighted than it is. I have found when you're working on the watercolor paper, it's thicker paper, of course, so sometimes when you're working with lighter colors like skin tone colors, for example, you have to go at it a couple times to really you know, let that shading show up. So now let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go over it again here. I'm just going to retrace what I just did. I'm putting the blush down first, which again is the darker color. So I'm going to come around, lay that down. And now I'm going to take the flesh color and again blend that out. I'm just redoing what I just did. I'm just going over it one more time so it really shows up. And now I'm going to take the water brush here and blend it all together. And that is such a great thing about the zigs. You can go back over what you just laid down. And there you go. It's just a little bit more exaggerated, slightly better look there at the shading. And now I'm going to take some almond pink, which is my favorite for cheeks, and I'm just going to just scribble a circle of color where each cheek would be. And now I'm just going to take my water brush and go over it slightly, very, very lightly, just to sort of blend that into his face. And now let me try to pick that up a little bit so you can see what I mean. Now the shading of the face isn't showing up very well on camera, I'm noticing right now, but you can definitely see shading in real life using those two colors and your water brush. Okay, so now all we have left for this little guy is the little star balloons that he's holding. And for those, I used brown and yellow, and that probably sounds kind of funny, but when you see it, you're gonna realize what a beautiful combination it is. And that's another awesome thing with the zigs. These are obviously watercolor markers, and you can think of them as if they were watercolor paints. And you can mix the colors together, or in this case, the markers together, and create beautiful new colors. Just like you could if you had paint and a palette and we're mixing the paints together. The only thing I encourage you to do is, since I'm putting a lighter color, the yellow, into the brown, you just want to take your paper towel here and scribble off the tip of the yellow marker to get the brown off of it. You're not going to hurt your marker, but you don't want that brown on the tip, because the next time you go in to use that marker, some brown might come off on your project and that might make you upset. So always just scribble off when you're doing that in between colors. So there you go. There's a beautiful, beautiful star. See, it's a really pretty combination. It almost creates this golden color, and it's absolutely beautiful in my opinion. Let me just blend that a little bit better there. Okay, and I'm going to do the other two quickly here. So again, to the right is going to be darker, we've established, and that's how we're doing all of our shading. So I'm just going to scribble down some of that dark color. Then we're going to take the yellow, blend that brown out, and see how beautiful it blends. It's just, oh, I just love it. Scribble off the brown off the tip of that yellow marker, and now take my water brush, and here we go. Filling in the remainder of the white space that's left behind. Very pretty. And you would do the third star the same exact way. But to save time, I wanted to show you quickly how I did the moon. And so what I did with the moon is I just used gray and light gray again. Very, very, very simple. And I just kind of picked a side that was going to be darker. And, you know, I would put it on my project after I cut it out accordingly. And scribbled on the dark gray. Or actually it's just gray with a darker color. Then come in here with my light gray, blend this color out here. Blend this out. And then take the water brush and simply fill in the remainder of the white space that is left behind. Super easy moon. Very easy. And then of course I added a whole bunch of Winkostella to my planets, and of course to the star balloons as well that he's holding. As I just thought that that was a fun touch. Now we're just blending this together here just to get rid of the choppy lines. There we go. And there's a very pretty moon. And I wanted to do a planet really quick. So I on my finished card I had two different planets, but I'm going to do one for the purposes of the video. And I did brown and light brown for this one, just like the stars. So just put a little bit of brown down here, scribbled a little bit of brown, and then took some light brown, pulled that color out like so, and then take your water brush, of course, and pull the color out into the open space that remains. As easy as that, guys. It really is. If you go out of the lines like I did just there, you just take your clean water brush and push that color back into the drawing or the character or whatever it is that the color's gone out of. Dab it with your paper towel as you push it in. You might have to go at it a few more times, but that will eventually erase it. And then finally we have the little spaceship, and I'm just going to go super quick here to finish this up. I wanted some color on it, so I did some blue here on the tippy top. And again, that's just the regular blue color of the zigs. And I'm going to use my water brush to pull that color out. Such a pretty blue color, I think. And now I'm using gray and dark gray for this part of the ship here. So I scribble some gray down, and then I take some light gray and blend that out here. And then use your water brush, of course, to finish up. And I then took some light gray for kind of the inside of the the little window of the spaceship. So it's just a lighter kind of inside look. Then I took some more gray here for this part right here of the little spaceship. Come in with your light gray to blend that color out, and then pull it out with your water brush. And then for these little booster things or rockets or whatever is the appropriate name, I put some blue down because again I wanted this to have some color. So I'm just scribbling a little tiny bit of blue. Remember, again, blue is one of those that reacts quite dramatically to the water, so you don't need a lot. A little goes a long way with the blue. Okay, and so we'll just pull this out here. There we go. And now let's take some more gray for this part right here, and some light gray. And then we'll take our water brush and pull that color out, giving us a nice shaded look. And then we're going to take some blue and put some blue on this little strip right here as well. And we'll pull that out with our water brush. And then finally we'll do some gray and light gray for the bottom part here. Here's our light gray. And we'll pull this out with our water brush. And we have a little bit of bleeding of the blue up here, and that is simply because I squirted a little bit of water out when I shouldn't have from my water brush. But it's super easy to fix. You just go back in with your regular gray, come back in with your light gray again, and blend it around that blue, and then blend it with your water brush, and it's like that never happened. So the zigs are also very, very forgiving. If you make mistakes, it's quite easy to fix it. But there you can see, guys, and super fast, right here on camera, I was able to live color this with you guys and get really nice results doing it very quickly. So finally, let me bring the final card back over here. So what you would do is, to finish this card up, is cut these images out. There are coordinating dies available for purchase separately if you're interested, which is what I used, or you can of course fussy cut them, or however you want to cut them out. And then I adhered them to my galaxy background here with foam tape. I used a sentiment from the set and put it on a black piece of cardstock, and I embossed it with white embossing powder, and then just simply stuck the entire thing on a standard A2 sized 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch note card. And that's the card, guys. And again, let me see, you can see the glossy accents there, some of the glitter, and the beautiful painting in the background there for our night sky. So I hope that you enjoyed this video and enjoy this card, and we'll give these zig markers a try. They're absolutely wonderful. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I really appreciate all your support. I would love it if you liked this video, if you gave it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I'd love that. And thank you again so much, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.